Welcome on our relationships. Love, and relationships. We are still continuing on our love and relationships. We remember that on our last episode, we were talking about loving our spouses and why people they are not faithful to one another, and it makes our relationships very sour and not nice. But God created our relationships to be, heaven, like heaven on earth, relationship situation where we enjoy each other. We bring up our children in the admonition of the Lord. And, marriage is a blessed thing. But because it has been infiltrated by the devil, we see ourselves, instead of enjoying our relationships, our marriages, we are actually, it's a hell. It's a hell, and people want to run out of hell. No one can be happy to stay in hell. So it is because of the infiltration of the enemy, and now our relationships are more than sour. They are bitter. There's no love, there's no intimacy, there's no nothing. It's just dry as a desert. We are going to explore today what causes spouses to cheat on each other. I did some research, and there's quite a number of reasons why people end up not being faithful to their spouses. So we are going to tackle those causes of spouses to cheat, and we will see on our next episode how best can we make our marriages a dreamland. On number one list, I saw that addiction is a cause, a very big cause for our intimacy or our relationships to wax cold or never to be there, to die actually. Because when we are addicted maybe to alcohol, to drugs, to whatever, it distracts our minds, and then we get, we are gambling the whole day, the whole night. We are high there. We cannot have time for our spouses to entertain each other. It is a way to entertain myself, which is very sad at the end of the day because it damages me. But drugs are no good. Alcoholism is no good. Anything gambling is no good. So at the end of the day, our relationships are affected because of addiction. No matter what you're addicted to, either other people are addicted to pornography. Pornography also can cause relationships to disintegrate, to degrade day by day until they reach their grave. So the other cause which I saw also, I read about, is attachment style. Under attachment style, there is attachment avoidance. The attachment avoidance is like silent medicine. Whatever happens, I won't say anything. I'll just be quiet and let the events unfold themselves. Avoidance, insecurity, and intimacy disorders. Sometimes we avoid our loved ones, maybe to have intimacy because of intimacy disorders. And we cannot maybe even say that here I am facing ABCD so that we can help one another. That's another cause. Also, the poor self-esteem. Poor self-esteem. If I have got poor self-esteem, I'll try by all means to prove myself that this girl is beautiful, this girl can do it. And by that, I find myself maybe even indulging in extramarital affairs because of poor self-esteem. I'm thinking by that I'm being recognizable, and I find myself having extramarital affairs. The other one is trauma during our childhood time. Childhood trauma, it can be sexual abuse, it can be physical or emotional abuse, verbal abuse. There's so much, and neglect. If children are neglected they are sexually abused, they are verbally abused, trauma and every kind of a thing. We find as they grow up with that hatred, low self-esteem, because verbal abuse will be telling them you won't amount to anything. Hence, at the end of the day, they grow up with that hatred and they with low self-esteem, and they feel they are not worthy to do anything. Hence they go around abusing themselves through sexuality, sexual intercourse, sleeping with anybody, and it doesn't matter. What matters, who cares? Because this is what I have gone through when I was young. And if those situations are left unattended, children are not counseled to come back to themselves, you find that even when people are married, they will still cheat on their spouses because they do not have self-worth in any way. So that is another thing. Number 4, exposure to infidelity. In our children, when we have got our children in our families and we expose them to infidelity, maybe father is not there, has gone to work somewhere, mama is bringing some men into the house, or vice versa. The children are exposed to this. They grow up knowing, this is normal. This is what I know, and they are bound to be infidel also. Maybe 3 times or more, twice as much infidelity in our children if we expose them to infidelity, our infidelity styles. The other one is mental illness. When our spouses are mentally ill, we see that there's no intimacy in the house, and one spouse feels cheated and they go out and try to satisfy themselves out there. So this is another thing which maybe, for example, under mental illness, bipolar syndrome. When somebody has bipolar syndrome disorders, today they are so much in, tomorrow they are so much out. Both extremes are usually not good, and you find that the other spouse cannot handle their spouse if they have got these mental diseases like bipolar syndrome. The other one which I have also is that previous cheating. When I am married, I cheat on my spouse, and maybe to the extent of me being divorcing, the experts say I am 3 times more to cheat on my new spouse than the previous spouse, because a cheater will always be a cheater unless they make a decision and say, I don't want this anymore because it is causing harm to me, it is causing hate to me, because you cannot hate one person and remain unhurt. So at the end of the day, even as you are hurt going through that divorce, you are bound to be hurt again, because 3 times more you are bound to be a cheater on your next relationship until you find yourself to who you are and you change the attitude. The other thing is psychological issues. When I've got psychological issues like being a man, a narcissist, being a narcissist, you are just a narcissist. A woman is a thing to be treated or to be used for sex, for your self-satisfaction. Also, it is also a disorder, narcissistic traits and personality disorders. That is not a normal thing. It's an affair. Maybe you are driven by your ego to make yourself that you feel you are a man if you are using women for your self-aggrandizement. So at the end of the day, you find you are cheating on your spouse, you are sleeping all over because you do not have bullying, you do not have your real senses together because of self-ego. You want to just selfishness. You want to use any woman whom you come across to satisfy your sexual desires. And at the end of the day, there is lack of empathy. You don't empathize with your people. The ladies or the men you are sleeping with, you are just sleeping with them randomly. And at the end of the day, I don't know whether you get that satisfaction or it's just to use people. And the other one is the sex addiction. Other people are addicted to sex, like we talked about addiction to alcohol. Sex also, some other of our people, is a disorder, because if you're addicted to sex, you really need help. So if you're addicted to sex, if I'm addicted to sex, I am a woman, and I will find that my husband would satisfy me in our intimate room, and at the end of the day, I will try to find some people or someone out there. I cannot be satisfied. I want more and more and more. Hence, I find myself cheating on my spouse, because I cannot be satisfied. So I will just, go all over to try and find satisfaction, which I cannot maybe even find, because the more I go out, the more I will need. That is what lust does. And there are risk factors. I also will touch on the risk factors for cheating. These are risk factors which can lead one spouse to cheat on another. Number one, domestic violence. If we have got violence, we are violating one another, and emotional abuse, physical abuse, we are bound not to have that intimate relationship with our spouses, and we find ourselves finding solace from out them. Financial pressures also is another risk factor to productive intimacy in the house. When people are financially stressed, even their libido, it goes down because of stress, and they cannot perform in the house. You find them looking for maybe satisfaction from somewhere else outside our marriages. Lack of communication. Ooh, this one. This one also is a very, very huge one in our relationships. It's a very huge risk factor in our relationships. If we do not communicate, we are dead. Only the dead do not communicate effectively. We can communicate and make noise, not going anywhere. But what we are talking about is effective communication where we will set our goals, where we will say sorry where we have gone wrong, where we will rebuild one another, where we will use each other's weaknesses and strength to build each other, encouraging one another, loving one another, and helping one another in our weaknesses. But if we do not communicate, then our relationship is literally dead, because without communication, we cannot go anywhere. That gulf opens and opens, because even the love to start, it started by communication. You saw somebody whom you loved, and then you said, I love you, can you stop there? I talk to you. That's where everything begins. So we see that if we lack communication in our relationships, our relationships die. And lack of respect. Some of us, we do not respect our spouses, either male or female. We do not respect. And if you do not respect anyone, you lower their self-esteem, and they find themselves they are worthless. And if I find myself that I am worthless because of what you have said to me, why bother me? Why should you even have intimacy with me? I just get dejected, and I find that I cannot even maybe perform in our sexual relationships. The other one, the low compatibility. We are marrying each other for wrong reasons. Because the main reason for our marriages to flourish is love. But if I marry you, maybe because I saw you driving a Navara, or you have got a business enterprise, I'm not marrying you, I am marrying your business enterprise. I am not marrying you, I am marrying a Navara, which you are having. And when that Navara goes, everything goes down the drain, because I would have married somebody out of wrong reasons. The other one also is conflict avoidance. In our relationship, there will always be conflicts. That's one thing for sure. And in our conflicts, we need to face them head on. We nip it on the bud. And we talk about communication again, because conflict will be solved by communication. Lack of commitment. If the other spouse is not committed to the marriage, to the relationship, eventually it faces its demise. And aging also, and loss of figure. You know, you saw me, Thandazile Ndlovu, looking beautiful, having that beautiful figure because I'm still young and vibrant. But as I grow and having children, that figure goes away and I become a Jojo. When I become a Jojo now, you see me like, this is not what I married. Hence, women, we are to keep our figures rolling so that we keep those men on their feet. And the other thing, as we age, we need to love one another, keep ourselves, keep up appearances so that we don't lose appetite for one another or love for one another. One of the most also dreadful and very sad risk factor is revenge. Maybe here I am, I once cheated on my spouse, and maybe my spouse caught me, but we talked it over and we thought it was over. But the other spouse is still wants to revenge. So that also is a risk factor to our causes of our spouses to cheat and our degradation to marriages. Here we are on Highway of Wholeness as we are talking about our relationships and what causes spouses to cheat on each other. We will see each other on our next episode, how we can rejuvenate our love, how we can make our relationship sweet and, not to have a bitter pill every day in our relationships. Here we are. I am Thandazile Ndlovu, and this is my channel, Highway of Wholeness, as we talk about love in relationships. Be blessed and enjoy your day. We will see each other on my next video. Please like my video. Press that subscribe button if you haven't subscribed, as we meet on my next channel, on our next video, where we will be exploring on how we can defeat these challenges which causes spouses to cheat on each other. Bye, as we see each other in my next video.